Because he wants to feel our love. Since he's the creator, it makes perfect sense that he doesn't want us to be robots where we have no choice other than to love him. He created us in such a way that enables us to choose to love him or reject him. And when we choose to love him, he then can feel the authenticity of our love. The devil was created with the same ability to choose between good and bad. His choice was to do bad because in his mind he felt he didn't need God but instead wanted to be like God or to replace God. He's actively doing the same thing today. A close observation of atheists' mindset shows that they're actively trying to replace God with science. When Lucifer, the devil, was in heaven, he deceived 1/3 of the angels there and they were thrown out of heaven with him by God. The devil's purpose is to deceive you that God does not exist, which you often see around the world by those who mock believers by calling them naive and brainwashed. It's up to you to decide which side you want to be on. And your choice is ultimately your business. I'll tell you something, though, when I was a child, my family gave me candies with no restrictions. I could eat as many candy as I wanted and life felt so good. It was the best, for a short while. Then eventually I developed tooth decay and the pain was so excruciating that if there was a gun in my reach, I probably would have blown my head off with it. I cried day and night. My life became living hell. This is what the devil wants for us. He wants to give us candies with no restrictions. He wants to give you the world with only one exception: you must deny Christ and worship him, science, instead. Jesus spoke of the narrow gate and the wide gate. He said the road to hell, destruction, is very wide, full of temporary pleasures, and advised that we should choose the narrow gate path, but the choice is still yours. Matthew chapter 7 verse 13. Enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. This is one of the more confusing topics discussed in the Bible. But it may be easier to understand when Juliet bemoans to Romeo, "Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow." Romeo and Juliet 2:2. For all of us who are not romantically tied to either, departing would not impart sorrow of any kind. It may even be welcomed. And it is this love for my adorable Trinity that I nurture every day that feels like hell when we part. Hell is created out of love for those who would rather not be in heaven. Satan, his demons and unrepentant sinners end up there simply because they have no interest in spending eternity with the Trinity and the heavenly host. And it is only seen as punishment from a Christian's perspective. Fear of offending our adorable Trinity is like fearing offending a lover. It can be pure torture until the relationship is restored. As others have pointed out, the words that sometimes get translated to hell in Bible translations really talk about the grave, or trash heaps, and the like. The only book of the Bible that talks about fiery pits and so on is Revelations, and the rest of that book reads like an acid trip while riding the back of a leprous elephant. The Bible also quite clearly says that God did not create the devil. The devil was originally an angel like all the others. But he got too caught up with his own perfection and gradually decided that he was as worthy of worship as God, and tricked man into deciding for itself what was good or bad, so that he could be worshipped by man. This is what caused Lucifer the angel to be cast out from God's grace and become the devil, who is called Satan. Revelations, which again is about as self-consistent as a 3-year-old's febrile drawings in crayon, says that about a third of the angels chose to join him, but who knows whether that's a literal third or just a part of them, compared to 2 other parts.